DARKSIDE SOUNDWAVE. As Decepticon plans enter final stages, Soundwave has descended to Earth. He continues his surveillance duties, spying on both Autobots and Decepticons, ensuring that there is not even the minimum chance of failure.
Peering into your soul. That artwork for DARKSIDE SOUNDWAVE. Welcome back, everybody. Taking a look at this figure right here. This one, it's DARKSIDE SOUNDWAVE. Now, this figure appeared in the original Dark of the Moon Deluxe release, or at least was scheduled to, but the production run never occurred. So, this is Takara's version, part of their Dark of the Moon repaints of some deluxe figures. Let's take a look at what you're getting. See, the grill's all nice and painted. He's a Mercedes SLK, I believe. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But as we go around the vehicle, there's not a lot to it. Let's peg him in a bit better. But there's not really much paint. You have black, red, and that's it. And the black is just really the color of the plastic. Now, one odd design choice are these window colors. This bright kind of orange color. I don't get it. I'm not a big fan of the way that looks. The paint, this kind of green paint, the Decepticon symbol, that's all good. Got MechTech ports on top, but I just don't really understand the orange windows. I'm not sure what I would have preferred it to be, maybe a darker color. He is DARKSIDE SOUNDWAVE after all. MechTech ports are on springs, so when you pull a weapon out, the hole fills back in. That's what she said. I don't even know what that means. So, again, looking at the rest of the car, it looks good. I mean, it's a sleek sports car, black. The bottom of it's got this cool silver speaker junk stuff. There's a head. So, but the overall look of the vehicle is good, albeit the odd kind of orange windows. Now, I've lightened the image so you can get an idea of how the in-plastic molding looks. It's got the gas cap, some vents on the side, so it's very true to the car. The wheels, I like the paint, not just the silver paint, but the paint inside the hubcaps as well. And the cool thing about the Decepticon symbol is it's not paint, it's the absence of paint, which is pretty neat. Size comparison next to Transformers Prime Wheeljack, and they're pretty close. So a lot of people say that the movie line, it scales down, and even though this is from the last movie, technically, he's still pretty close in size. There he is next to Generations Goldbug, excuse me. And again, it's not too out of place. Even though the SLK is a smaller car in general, it looks good. Now comes the pain. And I mean, this guy, let me say something about this car. He's a great looking car. He's an even better looking robot. But getting him between the two, it makes you make noises like, rrr. So the first thing you want to do is separate the back end like that. Grab that whole top piece, and you're going to pull it up. Might take you a minute. There you go. Just pull it up just like that. Now you want to take these two bumper bits and open them up. Take the side and unhook it from its tab, and you want to push the whole thing forward. So just pull it over just like that. If you try to pull it down, you're going to run into plastic, and you just won't go that way. So be sure when you unhook that you lift it up and over. Alright, so remember, pull it down, you're SOL. Pull it up and everybody's happy. So there you're forming the legs at that point. Now these little side rear bumper bits that we undid sort of kind of peg in. That left one on my toy tends to pop out a lot. But it's going to pop out during transformation. Just be sure when you're done that you stick it back in right over that kind of knee-ish joint. Right in that spot. Now you want to drop the foot. You just come down there and pull that down. Rinse and repeat on the other side. Just take it straight down like that. And now you want to box the feet by just forming a box. And it does tab into place. Do the same thing over here. Build a box. If you don't know how to build a box, what are you doing with Transformers? Get that camera in focus. And you'll see that there's a tab. Right there. That pegs into that spot right there. So you just kind of do that and click it into place. Make sure your box is straight. And you got a leg. 2 legs if you did it correctly. And see how these pieces just keep popping out. Just put it back in. It's no big deal. Unless you make it a big deal, I suppose. Here you have what humanoids call a partially formed robot. Now you got to pull out the arms, and this is really an easy thing to do. So you just want to reach in there, get some separation. You can go ahead and open up this hip piece. He has a false chest. That's exactly what that is. And by false chest, I mean it's not the actual front of the car, which still exists. And so some people might not like the false chestness of this guy. But you want to wiggle the arms out, and this is where it kind of gets a pain in the rear. Is you need to clear plastic and get all this stuff just in the position to where you can make this guy a robot, which should be simple, but there's just not enough clearance to make some of this stuff happen. Okay, so here I am basically using my mind to wheel these parts in. So you take the wheel wells, got to bend them back behind the head, and then you take the fake chest and you plug it into the real chest, like that. Seems easy enough. The biggest pain are those back wheels. So once you get everything kind of straightened out, you can get the arms unfolded and, bend them to your liking. We're getting real close to the end of transformation here. I cut out a bunch of this video that showed me fidgeting with parts because it's frustrating. But we're almost done. You want to make sure that the wheels are not quite at the angle like I'm showing you here, but you want to actually straighten them out. So just do like that and get them nice and straight. And with a little bit of luck and patience, you can have yourself a Soundwave just like this. It's actually not too hard once you've done it a few times. Here he is holding a Hound's rifle. He actually transforms fairly well, but you got to practice it a few times. And quite frankly, before I shot this is one of the first few times that I transformed it. To me, despite the fact that it's a little bit difficult, at first anyway, I think the details in this figure make it worth it. Let's take a look up close. The head sculpt looks great. That silver on black with the red eyes is really wonderful. You can see that the original front of the car tucks up behind there. There's the front, or the fakeness. But again, it looks good. It makes it look like the car transformed. Even closer look at the face, and look at the light piping. It's good. I mean, there's just, that red really comes through in the way that his eyes look. Mini rant on the orange again. It's so obvious that there's this huge orange backpack that I don't know, maybe clear plastic would have looked better. But I keep having mixed results. I thought there was a hinge here because it looks like there's a spring, and I think the spring really is just part of the MechTech port. But it looked like that piece was willing to bend over, and it's just not. The backpack, you can fold it any way you like it, but it's still just big and clunky, and it sits behind the entire body. His body's quite thin. Let's take a closer look at the waist detail. Again, you can see the in-plastic molding looks good. The gold bit on the bottom. Fortunately, you got a whole lot of hollow junk back there, but it is what it is. There's the speakers or electronic disruptors on his arm. Looks good. It looks good. The silver and black, again, looks wonderful. Articulation on Soundwave, his head moves left and right, not up and down. His arm itself is on a ball joint, but you've got some plastic clearance issues. You've got a lot of flexibility and posability on the elbow joint, the way that that's set up, partly due to transformation, but that dual hinge. There's a ball joint there on the leg, swivel there, knee bend, and you have a little bit of separation. You see that piece keeps coming undone, and you can put it right back into place fairly easily. Size comparison to recent figures, there's High Octane Bumblebee and Deluxe Drift. He scales quite well, and you can see that while the overall size of Transformers do seem to be shrinking, they've remained fairly consistent, at least through the movie line for the last couple of movies. And just to get a comparison on Voyager, here he is next to Galvatron. Good size difference here, but that was to be expected, comparing a Voyager to a Deluxe. All in all, they don't look that bad together. Do I recommend? With import pricing about $35 or so, this guy looks good in both modes. Getting him between the two, a bit of a mess, but get to learn the figure. I think you'll appreciate it more, and I must say, after having him on the shelf for a few days, I very much highly recommend him. Go ahead and pick him up if you can. Soundwave, look away while I shill some websites. You can find me all over the place. I'm at youtube.com/eBEFOREi.net. It's where I post all my reviews of Transformers, some Doctor Who, Star Wars, and lots more Transformers. I'm on Facebook at facebook.com/eBEFOREi and Twitter at eBEFOREiNet. Also, look in the description of this video. I've got a brand new Facebook group where we talk about all kinds of stuff and lots of good insight, so be sure to check it out there, and I'll post that down in the description. Thanks again so much for watching. We'll see you back here again real soon.